I want to point. I want to point to something. I want to point to something. Okay. People are crashing out naturally. Can't blame anyone for anyone crashing out. It honestly seems like an understandable reaction. No. Yeah. Even he agrees with you. Yeah. Dem operatives should be, well, he agrees with me, but he's not saying I'm that guy. Dem operatives should be scouting young guys with left politics on Twitch the way baseball scouts the Dominican League for kids who can throw 100 miles per hour. But like, there are people like that out there. It's just that they are not recognizing, people are not, the Democratic Party and its media ecosystem does not want that. Okay? They want something different. They want people that play the same role that like Charlie Kirk plays. I do feel like a lot of higher ups in the Democratic Party have convinced themselves that Olivia Giuliana and Harry Sasson constitute actual successful youth outreach, when in fact it seems like their job is to convince old people that Democrats are doing successful youth outreach. That's the issue. And it's the same with Pod Johns. Like, I have one of the youngest audiences. In all of politics. And I know this from YouTube. Like, YouTube data shows that I have consistently the youngest audience in politics. Okay? I don't think you say your audience is 40, but I'm talking about fucking YouTube. And also, not only is it YouTube data, but it's YouTube data in comparison to every other content creator in the space. Okay? Every other content creator in the space, in the news and politics space, before everyone starts fucking chiming in about how old they are, even if you're like 25, even if you're 30, you're still technically younger. You're still in the 18 to 35 demographic, you dumb fucks, you stupid fucking boomers. The very fact that you think you're old as like a 30-year-old is because you're in a much younger space. That's my fucking point. Most people that pay attention to politics, both online and everywhere else, are 65 minimum. Shut the fuck up. What's wrong with you? Look at the average age group for Fox News's television audience. Is like 78 is the most common age. My point is, there's a lot of this stuff out there that where people are like looking for younger people that represent their values, and then falsely assuming that they have a young audience. Okay? That's the issue. The issue is, yeah, Charlie Kirk plays that role for the right to an extent, but he represents an actual media ecosystem on the right that doesn't really exist on the center/left. The point I'm trying to make is, Democrats have issues with the message that comes from someone like myself. They are directly at ideological odds with what I represent, with what this community represents. Okay? Whereas the Republicans lucked in, okay? The Republicans lucked into a media environment beyond the freaks. Like, the Ben Shapiro audience is not young. The Charlie Kirk audience is not young. But the Aiden Ross audience is young. The Theo Vaughn audience is young. The Joe Rogan audience is broad. There's older people in there, but there's younger people in there as well. And what a lot of people don't understand in the Democratic Party is that, and in the media space, is that these guys who are like adjacent to right-wing content creators, who often churn out like silly stuff and can't be packaged specifically as like right wing or left wing, a lot of those guys that do have young audiences are constantly aligning and constantly doing podcasts, constantly collaborating with other people who also are inherently right wing. Like you got Nelk Boys having Ben Shapiro on, right? There is no equivalent like broader media ecosystem on the left, and on top of that, there is no direct line of communication between someone like myself and like a CNN or an MSNBC, with the obvious exceptions of like, you know, Chris Hayes at MSNBC is a Hasanabi head, or you got, you know, Donnie and some other content creators or some other journalists that are fans of mine or friends of mine. Like those are direct relationships that I've cultivated. And even then the broader media ecosystem on the left or center left, liberal left, whatever you want to call it, is not unified. And they're not even unified with the fucking Podjohns. And the reality is the Podjohns came from Obama. Like they were literally Obama's fucking speechwriters. And even they barely get play in mainstream news. Think about that. And it's not like those guys are at odds with the Democratic Party at all. So there's definitely a lack of communication within the liberal left media ecosystem. And I think part of that also comes from the fact that the Democratic Party is at odds with big chunks of the base. The Democratic Party's base is also diverse, representing different values, right? It's supposed to be a big tent party. Now, the issue is they also actively shut out certain aspects of that tent, massive chunks of that tent, because they're fearful that if they gain more prominence, people like myself gain more prominence, there's going to be a whole lot more Bernie Sanders style candidates out there, and they don't want to contend with that reality. They don't want to deal with that reality. So unless the Democratic Party changes their attitude overall and changes their reliance on the like neoliberal ideological agenda that they have to fucking constantly push for in the most idealistic ways possible, when all signs point to this being an abject failure, unless they do that, they're cooked. And they're never going to be able to recreate the same media ecosystem that the right has, because the right doesn't give a shit. Okay? They don't care that Theo Von has Bernie Sanders on one week and then has Donald Trump on the next week. Okay? Nobody on the right is like, Theo, you fucking piece of shit. You're so goddamn woke. Fuck you. They're like, hell yeah, they had Donald Trump on. That's amazing. There's no such equivalent in the left-wing circuits anyway. Like I talked about having Bradley Martin on in a little bit to talk to him about his like Trump support. I'm obviously at odds with him, even though I respect his size. He's 260, brother. I've known him for years. And even when I said I want to talk to him, half the chat was like, what the fuck are you talking to Bradley Martin? Like, that's the problem. You guys are dumb as fuck as well. Even you in here, you're dumb as fuck too. You don't understand how any of this shit works. And you immediately, actively advocate against your best interest. There's no way to like, there's no charitability even a little bit. And what I mean by this is charitability for someone like Bradley is not the same as charitability for someone like Charlie Kirk. That's actively a reactionary professional commentator and not someone who might have been duped by reactionary professional political commentary. That's the difference. But you don't see that. You think every single fucking person is like secretly invested in upholding the values of the Fourth Reich or some shit for marginal differences. So there's that issue as well. And that actually actively shuts off other massive communities from ever interacting with this one. So there's that issue as well. So there's many different issues. But all of these issues combined is the reason why there's no such left-wing media equivalent. Okay? Hassan, you better start grifting right before Uncle Dom finds out about you. Don't worry, brother. Hell yeah. That's why I'm going to have Bradley on and be like, I love Donald Trump. Yeah. And this is not even a joke. My conversation with Brother Banks shed more light on the Trump victory than most mainstream coverage. It's true. Sometimes you got to fucking talk to people where they're at and understand where the fuck they're coming from. If you want to be able to develop a better understanding of like what is going to happen potentially. All right. Now, obviously, I just went through this. I just went through this conversation. It doesn't fucking matter. Every single person just went, oop, in through one ear, out through the other. The moment fucking I talk to another person that has controversial takes or opinions that you don't agree with, you're going to fucking treat it like it's Nazi Germany alive and well in the Hassan Abi broadcast. Many think pieces will be, many think pieces will be written in the chat. Essays will be conducted. Eventually, you'll find out that maybe I wasn't wrong. Anyway. What would you think should happen for the Democratic Party to improve in a perfect world? What should Democrats do? Address the genuine material problems that people are fucking facing. All right? That's it. Never forget, so many people were like, dude, why the fuck would you debate Andrew Tate? You're platforming Andrew Tate. You're platforming Andrew Tate. No, motherfucker, I was the only person who wasn't platforming him. Huh? Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. I was dunking on him, which, you know, unfolded in really meaningful ways that actually destroyed his entire life, I think. It was the first domino that fell. But, yeah. Andrew Tate already had a massive platform by the time that I got to it, you know? Whereas, like, I would never do the same for, like, some fucking rabid neo-Nazi that has, you know, 300 concurrents because that would be platforming them. Okay? Talk to other leftists, not Trump supporters. There's no point. They don't go for a little. See, this is what I'm seeing. Why are you trying to be buddy with Trumpism? Like, this dude literally didn't hear a single damn thing I just said. Like, straight up, did not hear a single damn thing that came out of my mouth. Like, remember when I said in through one ear, out through the other? There it is. Brother, there's no point in fraternizing with bigots is a funny fucking take to have when you got Donald Trump winning the motherfucking popular vote. Okay? You're living in it, big dog. It's time to fucking figure that shit out. It's time to at least, you know, try to contend with where this is coming from and try to speak reason to not only these people, but also the people that follow them and love them. Okay? Fuck. Perhaps I know a little bit more about the situation than you do. I don't know. Maybe my 10 fucking years of doing this and developing a fucking platform over it has been, you know, not the worst thing. Anyway, guys, you got to stop with this, like, there's no, please do not entertain these fucking weird conspiracies about the election being stolen. I don't want to see that in this chat. Okay? I don't like it. I don't want to see that in this chat. This is not a community where we let that kind of misinformation sling.